Yeah, baby. Yes, sir. Here we are. Here we are again. Once another day, another dollar. And so, J Powell, it seems to be um, softening his stance. We heard him a little dovish. How do we play this? Um, Good morning, my friends, my fellow simpletons, degenerates, scallywags, and near do wells. How is everyone doing this morning? I hope you guys are doing great. I know I'm doing quite peachy today, and I am just excited because we have some type of guidance now, right? The market seems to be a little happy this morning with the dovish stance that RUGMAN took when it comes to the interest rates in September. So everyone was expecting a bloody day, myself included. However, here we are. And it seems like the market liked what he said. They're still digesting it because he didn't really say he's going to cut, right? He just said that we are in an inflection point where unemployment is kind of high, but the metrics of the overall economy, I guess, are good. But yet, we have people, I guess Americans are not necessarily spending more, but they are saving more. I mean, it's just, he was kind of all over the place. However, he didn't say that, he was hawkish towards towards interest rate cuts in September. He said he's actually we are kind of at a point where we made to soften our stance, right? Who do we have here? Kent's mom is in the house. Wing Commander Saga's in the house. Wing Commander, he's back. He is back, my friend. He's back. And so I figured that you would appreciate your fellow buddy over here being back. He's quite bullish, actually, as I am. As you guys can see here, feeling a little bullish this morning, right? And I was actually trying to write on the Discord that I'm starting to cover calls. I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to take what the market gives me, and it seems like right now it is ripping. That's a good sign. That's what we want. Bobby Atkinson's in the house saying we green roller coasters. Wing Commander Sackers saying that he closed a bunch of cash secure puts today at the pop, and I did myself. So great, good job. Jay Gillen saying good morning, Savage and all. Tom is saying SoFi getting delisted. It's gonna be $6, right? Tom is saying SoFi getting delisted again. Yeah. So Bobby Atkinson saying stock market too large to fail, and that's the way it seems. Jay Powell, I guess, is reading the writing on the wall, and he doesn't want to go and fight Trump on this one. I think he's kind of softening his stance. He didn't say he's going to cut, though. Notice how he kind of danced around that subject, and he was just basically saying this is what the metrics are here on this part of the economy. These are the metrics here on this part of the economy, and we seem to be able to be ready to soften our stance a bit. But he did say, that we're curious to see what the data brings. However, supposedly it's moving in, I guess, the right direction. So, I mean, it's still to be seen. Don't be surprised if in September he decides to change his mind and gets a little more hawkish, right? And then tells you that October, kicks the can down the road to October. Mando number 5 is in the house saying hi all. CKT saying very surprised. He never flat out said we're gonna cut, but the market is green. Bought back some cash secure puts and got out of my SQQQs with a minimal loss. I did myself. Pump it up. Moneymaker Juan is saying, and Gerardo Alvarez is in the house saying, let's go. Indeed, let's go. Another day, another dollar. I mean, look, in the overall scheme of things, right? He didn't say he's going to cut, but he didn't say that, that they're going to take a little more hawkish stance and look at the data flat out, right? And say, if we look at something, they will start thinking of cutting. Like, he didn't say that. The S&P 500 liked it. It's up almost 2%, right? The Dow 30 liked it, up almost 2%. NASDAQ liked it. It's up 2%. And the Russell 2000 definitely liked it because it's up almost 4%. So the Russell, it seems like mid cap and small cap stocks really like what it was said. Again, I told you guys, a rate cut for the small caps means that there's going to be more money available at a lower interest rate, right? I hope you guys listen to me because for the last 2-3 weeks, I've been talking about real estate plays, right? And I did say, guys, open door. And this is something I've been saying for months as far as open door. Open door technologies, right? If the rates get cut, open door is going to fly. I even mentioned smart rent. And I said, if the rates get cut, smart rent is going to fly. I mentioned another company. I don't know if you guys caught it, but you can look at the past videos. Rocket companies, right? It's a real estate play. I think it's RKT. I think it was like $14, $13 when I told you guys about it the first time. And I said, you guys may want to look at this one. A rocket it's going to fly. All of those are up right now. I think rocket's like at 18, 19 bucks. So, I mean, it's one of those where I told you guys that, the market is cyclical. We all know that, right? But the pivots, this is how they happen. And most of the people that are retail investors, they wait till the day of, right, to kind of take a position. So let's say, Jerome Powell cuts rates in September. Okay. Well, by then, all these real estate companies, they're already going to be up, because the companies that know, right, the market movers, and all these other outfits, right, they've been taking positions now. They started taking positions now. And even if it's a little to the downside, they just average down and get another million shares, 2 million shares. And so, because they know, although it's not for sure that Jerome Powell is going to cut rates in September, it's a lot likelier that he is going to cut, right? And so this is when you start taking positions, and I told you guys also, thread carefully. Yesterday, you could have sold some cash secure puts on stuff, and I told you, don't go crazy with the cash secure puts, right? But take positions if you want to. And it seems like it's a stock that you've been looking at and it's attractive and it's near 52-week low. Go ahead and write some cash secure puts. Don't be afraid, right? And I also told you, don't be afraid of the upside. You also can't be afraid when a stock is near 52-week lows because, I mean, how much lower can it get, right? If it's a stock that was $80, $90, I don't know, a year ago, and right now it's at $10, it already went down $80. It's not going to go up down another $80. It's more than likely it may go down another few bucks. But if you get it here, I mean, the chances of it going back to 80, it's very high, especially with a low APR in the works, and when we do cut rates, and we will cut rates. It's just a matter of when, right? But again, don't be afraid to take positions, guys. Even right now, there's some companies right now that you've been eyeing that seem to be doing okay and are green because of these news, right? Well, don't be afraid to go in and sell some cash secure puts. I do know that you were only supposed to sell cash secure puts on green days. I understand. But if it's a company that's, there was at a 52-week low yesterday and today, it's up like 5%. It's still a lot low. It's a lot lower than it was in the past. So if you go to like October, you're still taking a bigger chunk, right? So it's just, I know it goes against conventional wisdom, but once in a while you have to take a stab at it, right? So once in a while you got to say, this is kind of a company that I've been eyeing. It's near a 52-week low. And if I sell a cash secure put, I'll be like just above the 52-week low or at the 52-week low. There's nothing wrong with that. For the most part, though, if you are holding Open Technologies or Neo, or you're holding SoFi, Unity, if you're holding even GME right now, if you wrote some GME $24 calls for October, you know, I say take it, take the advantage, take what the market's giving you, sell some $24 covered calls for October, ask for a couple of dollars. You can bring in $2. The stock is at like $23, 22.93. It has to move up another dollar. And not that it can't move up another dollar, but you're realistically selling at 26, right? And so what is it that you're doing except making money? Nothing is saying that Jerome is going to cut rates in September. Nothing is saying that. It's more likely, right? But nothing's 100%. So remember, yesterday was doom and gloom, right? That's what the market does. Take advantage of the opportunities. Right now, GME is almost at $23, and if you sell a $24 cash covered call for October, you can get $2 right now, this second. So, anyways, let's see, who else do we have here in the house? Gerardo Alvarez is saying, let's go. Indeed, let's go. SJ Taveras is here. We not going down, Savage. We don't have to go down to make money, right? We go up, we make money. So today, if the stock is flying around 10% more than it was yesterday, or 15, 20% more, sell cover calls. Go to October. You can take a big chunk right now. I gave you kind of like a hint, right? I gave you like an example with GME. GME is not even at $23, and you can sell it for $24 and take in $200. That's a $300 move for a stock that's like at $23 right now, right? So the world of averages, let's say you do a buy right, and you buy for 23, you sell for 26 realistically, right? You brought in $300 on your $23 investment. That's more than 10%. That's the game. That's the game plan. And you can always roll in October. In October, if GME's at $25, right? Well, on October, you can go to 26s to January and bring in another dollar of premium and go up another dollar in the chain or two. You're still making money, right? At the end of the day, that's the name of the game. The visual arts is in the house saying, yes, sir. I wasn't expecting this today. Neither was I. I honestly thought that I was pretty hawkish. And, he softened his stance. He didn't say he's going to cut, though. Remember that. You got to look at the past performance, right? The last, out of the last 6 years, I think one time, and I think it was 2021, whenever we had a meeting at Jackson Hole, 5 of those times the rates, the next day or that day, while he was speaking, everything tanked. I think it was for the pandemic that when he was speaking, the rates actually went up, and skyrocketed after he was speaking. But I mean, just because just because history has told us otherwise, that is not a precursor for what's to come with the market, right? So just because we've had certain moves in the past, that doesn't dictate that that's going to be the same move in the future with the market. And that's, even though it's a forward-looking market, we have to look at that in the past. And sometimes, if things have happened in the past, that doesn't necessarily mean there's going to happen in the future. So again, we expected him to be hawkish. He was dovish, and I think that's a good thing. Right now, you just got to look at your stocks. If you're holding on to SoFi, SoFi, don't just get caught flat-footed. Right now, if you're holding SoFi, if you go to, let's say, October 17th, and you sell a $27 call, you can get $151. You're basically selling at $27. The stock has to move $2, and you're getting $151 premium. Okay, you're making money. You're taking advantage of what the market is giving you. SoFi is up 6.5% right now. It was up upwards to I think closer to 8, 7. Whenever the market moves, right, your stock above 5%, 5 to 10%. Take the opportunity and sell some covered calls and bring in some cash, right? I mean, you could cross your arms and see what next week holds, right? But we don't know what's going to happen. We know that the market is liking what was said today. People are digesting it. They're trying to dissect everything. He said, "Oh, the talking heads are now that were telling you doom and gloom yesterday are saying, oh, he's very dovish. The market's going to go to all-time highs. Nothing's for sure. Nothing is for sure. You know, we still have PPI coming in. The August PPI is going to come in September, right? CPI. We have the numbers from Walmart, Target. You know, they were telling us right now people are not spending as much money as they were earlier. So take that into account, right? Take advantage of what the market is giving you right this second. I'm not writing on C3.ai just yet because we're up only 3%. We were up, I think, like 4% this morning. I wanted to go up like 5 to 10%. And that's when I'm going to write some cover calls on that. Unity. Unity's up 8% this morning, right? The ticker is U. If you were to sell some cover calls for October on Unity, right? Sell some 43s. Hell, you can sell some $45 covered calls on Unity right now and bring in $250. Bring in $250. If you want to get triggered right away, put a 248 there. Sell a $45 cash secure put on Unity that is expiring on October 17th, and you could bring in $248 right this second. You're going to get filled right away. Don't get caught flat-footed, guys. Nothing is telling you that everything's for sure. And right now, the market it's digesting what Powell just said. Everybody's liking it. FOMO's kicking in. Take advantage of that. RX is up. So if you're holding RX and you bought it in the fours, right? Don't be afraid to sell some January calls, 750s. You could the stock is at $5. You're basically asking for 50% more if you sell in the future for $750, and you can bring in $65 per contract this second. If you have 10 of those, you're bringing in $650. What is wrong with that, right? Pay your bills for a month with that. You know, it's more than 5% today. Rivian, what is Rivian doing? Rivian is up 5%. It's 1273. Let's see here. If you go to October, you sell a call on Rivian, sell a $14 call, bring in $54. You could do that right now. Let's see what else is going on here. I already told you about GME. Let's see, Archer is up only 3%. I will wait on that. SMCI 2.7%. Let's see here. Sentinel One is up only 1.5%. Open Door Technologies, right this second. If you're holding Open Door Technologies, you're up 20% today. You were up 24% at a point this morning. If you haven't yet, sell some covered calls for October. Sell some $5 covered calls. Bring in $100 or $107 right now. You're selling at $5. The stock has to move 70 more cents, right? You could bring in $5 if you get taken out plus $107. So realistically, you're selling at $607. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You could actually stink bid it at $115. Sell for $115, get filled, and sell for $5 on October. You want more money coming in? Sell some 550s and sell for $151 in January. Sell for $550. So the stock has to go up another $1.20, and you can bring in $151 per contract. You have 10 of those, you're bringing in $1,510 for your troubles. For basically selling in the future at $550, a stock that's at $430 right now. Okay, you're up 20%. Are you guaranteed to go 20% up on Monday? Not likely. But again, remember, they're actually by today, we may have profit taken. It's Friday. It's option expiry day, guys. You may have some profit taking this morning. BBAI, it's up 2%. I'm waiting. IOVA is up 6.69%. You can go right now and sell some October calls, some 250s, some $3 covered calls, and bring in $40 if you sell in October. If you want to go to January and you sell a 350, you can bring in $53 per contract. You do 10 of those, that's $530. To sell a stock that's 272 for 350 in January. What is wrong with that? I just don't understand. Don't get caught flat-footed. Smart Rent's up 4% today. The last time I bought that 1,000 shares of Smart Rent was like 96 cents. So I've averaged down considerably. My average cost now is 140. So it's at 146. I'm waiting. I'm telling you guys right now, real estate plays are going to fly when interest rates get cut. Right now is the time to take positions, right? You see any weakness. Let's see Rocket. I was talking about Rocket, right? Um, Rocket Companies. Rocket Companies is up 9.3% this morning. It's 1921 at this point in time. Okay. A month ago, let's see here, like 2 weeks ago when I was talking about it, it was around $14, 14.50. It's 19.20. It's up almost $5 a share. I told you guys, if rate cuts happen, these companies fly. So if you're looking to get into a cyclical stock that's going to start adding value to itself, all these real estate companies are going to make a killing because if rate cuts happen, people are going to buy more homes. They're starting to buy homes now. The numbers just came in yesterday. And that's why the market was kind of wishy-washy. And then like some stocks were green, some were red. Well, a lot of those that were green are real estate plays. You know why? Because even though interest rates are high, people are buying homes now. People are buying more homes. And that's one thing that just the market just couldn't understand. Yes, my thought processes, right? This is like my thesis. Because interest rates are high, right? But a a rate cut is now looming in the future. People are saying because real estate is now cheaper than it was a year ago. Nothing is selling. So home sellers have actually backed on their initial offerings, right? And some homes have been down 5-10% from the initial ask. Okay, so now people are saying, I'm going to take a chance now and buy the house now. And when interest rates get cut, I'm going to refinance. That's what's happening. Okay, that is my thesis. And I think I'm pretty on point because all these real estate plays right now are going up and booming. We have all these real estate plays up 15%, 10%. Open Door has been going nuts for a month. It's not a coincidence, right? Yes, the Reddit crowd got in. Yes, they saw the weakness, and they saw the shorting, right? But at the same time, a lot of these guys are not stupid. They're like, this is a real estate play and it's 50 cents right now. That's insane, given the fact that we're probably going to have a rate cut later in the year. And it's pretty likely, right? Nothing's 100% for sure, but it's pretty likely. And now it's a lot more likely than it was yesterday. Right now, I think the percent has moved up, like in Vegas, to 100% rate cut for September. So these companies are going to fly. You have to pay attention to these things, right? Let's see here. Bro, he's gonna cut for sure. He wasn't gonna say it directly. I know it's Jay Tavares. Well, he doesn't say it directly, but he does have the tendency to sound hawkish, right? And he didn't sound hawkish at all. Usually he says, it's kind of unlikely that we're gonna soften stance because given all the metrics given right now, it seems like we're still not threading the needle, and we want to be at a good spot so that we can, have a softer landing. That's what he says. He didn't say that, right? He basically said, it's we're kind of threading the needle, and it's looking like we could soften our stance in the future. So that's exactly what he said. 4% up on Smart Source. It says D Visual Art. Correct, my friend. We Commander saying, meet Kevin bought RKT yesterday. I told you. I bought RKT like 3 weeks ago, and although it's not one of my savage stocks, I kind of I want to give you guys the ones that are like going to fly the highest, and have the most potential and the least amount of downside, right? And also short it so that they can have more volatility. RKT doesn't have that much volatility, at least it didn't last time I checked, and so I like premiums, right? But I mean, it's a good stock to have. And make no mistake, if you have rocket companies, right, and you're up right now, 20% almost, go to October, sell a covered call. Why not? Sell a 20. Sell a $20 covered call, bring in 137 bucks. Or you can go to January and sell like a $24 call for 139 bucks. 24.20 for 139 bucks. Get paid. The stock has to move another $5 for you to, get taken out. And if you get taken out, you bought at 19, 18 bucks and you're selling at 24, you made $600. Who friggin' who? You made money. That's the whole point of the game, guys. We still don't know what the tariffs are going to do. Remember that as well. Okay, they're going to give pressure to the downside. The tariffs are going to give us pressure to the downside in September. Make no mistake about that. They kicked in on August 6th, which means the July numbers didn't account for them. September will, because we're going to be looking at right now, right? Remember that. Nothing is for sure, my friends. Wing Commander Saga saying 19.999 USD. I said, yeah, it got up there. Ray Sherlock is saying, oh man, I lost you. Would you recommend cash your puts on Sound today? What up, Savage? I'm currently shareless, so can't write covered calls. I took Uncle Bruce's advice to sell every share and go cash your put. Have had no shares since then. Might be put on my Sound 1450s end of September. What is Sound at right now? Right, SoundHound. I actually did some cash puts on it yesterday. Let's see, SOUN, right? SoundHound is up 2% today. It was at 12.67 this morning, and it's at 12.72 now. I mean, everything has rebounded, right? But SoundHound, every time you go to McDonald's, every time you hear like some AI talking, that's pretty much SoundHound. If you do some $12 cash secure puts, I think you're okay. Bring in $112 right now. That's for $112, $111. $12 cash secure put out to October. You're essentially buying SoundHound for $10.88, $10.90. Nothing wrong with that. SoundHound moves from 10 to 14 in that channel, always. And it stays hovering around then. So it's a great stock to sell cash secure puts on and sell covered calls on. So I say sell some $12 cash secure puts on SoundHound, and go to October. You'll be fine. Ask for go ask for 120. Ask for 120. See if you get filled. 120 for the $11. I mean, you're essentially getting 10% if you don't put those shares. So you either make 10% on your investment, which is more than like the stock market would give you, or any bank for that matter. In a year, you did it in a month, 2 months, right? Or you get shares of a company that you're eyeing to get. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So that would be that's how I would play Sound. If you put those 14, 15, I mean, you're still you still have a whole month, right? For 1450s. See what happens in the next week or two, and then you can roll. Remember, you can go to October. If you don't see somewhere where in October you're comfortable, go to November. I mean, don't be afraid to go down on the strike. To let's say, if you were to go to, let's see here on SoundHound. Let's see if you were to go to January, right? Those are 1450s. Don't be afraid to go to 13s in January and basically get $150 back from your collateral, and you perhaps can bring in more premium. So I mean, don't be afraid of the downside, my friend, at all. I mean, if it's shares that you've been eyeing to get anyways, there's nothing wrong with just waiting a bit. See what the stock tells you. Ken's mom is saying, Ken's mom, good morning. How you doing? Ken's mom is saying, I did go crazy with cash secure puts yesterday. Woman's intuition. I thought we'd be green today. Not bad at all. I mean, we've been sitting on cash secure puts for a long time, right? Remember, I've been telling you guys, so many companies are at 52-week lows. Don't be afraid to make a move, right? And then just go out to October and get paid dollars instead of cents, right? Bring in more premium. And right now, that premium is shrunk, right? So you can wait and see what happens. I mean, that data is going to decay. It's Friday. Monday, there's going to be 3 less days on that contract, so the data is going to decay, right? Those are going to be worth less. So, and then if we have green for whatever reasons, we don't know yet what's going to happen. But let's say we get some green all over on Monday, then those are going to be even less. So, they're the stock market to put those shares in your pockets, man. Ray Sherlock, I do recommend cashing your puts on South today. This is not financial advice. I just, I recommend them for myself, and so I just went in and I put a stink bid in there just so that that I'm in there myself. I have some skin in the game. I have some expiring in September, and now I'm going to have some expiring in October, and I have no problem with that at all. I did the $12 one, and I'm asking for $120. Tom Kaufman saying, Savage up and way for sure, Tom. Zach G's in the house saying, RUGMAN screwed me today. How? Because if you've been doing cash secure puts, how you get screwed? You can sell covered calls right now. So I don't know how you get screwed. I mean, if the stock market goes up, we make money. If the stock market goes down, we make money. How do you get screwed? Savage, do you do call credit spreads? Yeah, I do, but I don't condone them. I don't even tell people about them because, they're a little more. You have to take care of them a lot more. You got to baby them a lot more. And I'm all for keeping it simple and taking a more conservative approach, especially with 1 week till expiry. I like people to write 1 or 2 months out so that they get more premium, either covered calls or cash secure puts, bring in more money. And I don't want to talk about those because I don't want to give you guys. I don't want you to gamble. Those are a little more gamblish, right? So I stay away from those as far as at least this channel, right? Karen D saying, hi, Savage. I bought some Rivian yesterday and sold some cash secure puts at $12.50 for September. Good for you, my friend. Double D is saying, nice, Savage. Charlie's in the house saying, good morning, Savage. D Visual Arts saying, I think now everyone's going to cut. I think he's going to cut. He won't, which would help create that September dip. We don't know. Nothing's for sure. I think that the PPI is probably going to give us some red, and I think that's going to be the dip because that's when we're going to see the tariffs really starting to kick in, and we're going to see the preliminary numbers, right? Andres de la Torre saying, I have 65 SoFi covered call contracts at $25.50 for next Friday. The 29th, I think I'll be assigned. Why don't you just roll right now? Instead of doing the 25.50s, why don't you roll to some October 27th? Or even better, why don't you roll from some 27.50s in January and bring in a lot of premium? I'll have to start the wheel again, says Andres de la Torre. You don't have to. You can get more money right now, right this second. Everything's green. Take advantage of the FOMO. Andres de la Torre saying taxes are going to kill me. I like having tax problems, my friend. I like having tax. I'd rather have tax problems than I can't pay my mortgage problems. Bottom line, When people say money doesn't make you happy, that's true. Money does not make you happy. But I'd rather cry in a Mercedes SL than like out in a homeless camp somewhere with like, one of those shopping carts with all my stuff in there. Like I'd rather cry inside my Mercedes Benz. I'd rather be sad like inside my house, than like not. Um, so as Jay Tavares is saying, Savage, would you still sell long dated options even with a small account? I just feel like tying up my money on a small account may not be the right strategy. Well, SJ, you don't have to. I mean, you don't. I mean, you know, dude, when you have a small account, I rather do cash secure puts. You know, and I mean, why don't you do, instead of doing stocks that are $30, $40, if you have a small account, why don't you do stocks that are like $5, $6? You could do more options, right? Instead of doing like one option, uh, writing one covered call on a stock that's $30, why don't you write six covered calls on stocks that are $5? So you're basically um, you're diversifying your portfolio and you're in more sectors. You know what I mean? So like instead of doing a Unity which is $40, one covered call in Unity, why don't you do some RX, some SoundHound, uh, some SoundHound, some Prop, some Ioga, some Smart Rent, some Open Door Technology, some Lucid, and you'd still have some Smart Rent, like I said, maybe a Rivian. I mean, you'd still have money to. I mean, I don't know. When I had a small account, I would do like Oxygen. I don't know if you guys ever were on Ocu, but that's what I was writing on, right? I was writing on $3 stocks, $4 stocks, and then I would look at premiums. Again, I've always been a premiums person. I bring in 10, 15%, and then I would use that money on a red day to buy more shares, and or write more cash secure puts. And then I would dare the market to assign me, and I got assigned a lot of times. And then once I get assigned, I would wait for the underlying to jump 5-10%, usually 10% for the stocks that small, 10 to 15%, and then I write covered calls, one or two strike zones above, and then I go out 2 months, and I bring in like 15-20% of premium, and then I keep doing that. And I would dump as much money as possible into my account, right? And so that's kind of how I played that game. Let's see. We command to say, just close my bullish cash secure puts. I am happy with 30% returning 1 week. Yes, good job, man. I kind of bought it too early yesterday, but I wanted to raise cash. I'm sitting on a shitload of cash right now. So which is why I'm still gonna look at some cash secure puts on Webull, and cash secure puts on SoundHound, cash secure puts on Serve. I'm looking at Domo, cash secure puts. Yeah, maybe Clean Spark, cash secure puts. I mean, I'm looking. It's not that I'm not looking. It's just everything right now is green, so I like it. I'm just gonna try to, I'm just gonna cross my arms. I'm selling covered calls, so that's what I'm doing today. And I'm daring the market to like take me out. I'm trying to raise as much cash as possible because I think these numbers in September, the tariffs, I think we're gonna get some bad numbers. I'm not trying to time the market, but I'm being conservative with my money, right? So I'm killing the market. I'm up like 60-70% for the year, and so I'm looking to get these cash secure puts shrunk. Right, my $23 GMEs. At this point, my cash secure puts are like this little, and I'm just gonna pray to get a sign. My $23 calls on GME, they're still green because I got so much premium for them a month ago. So if GME runs to 24 in a couple of weeks, I'll rotate, and then I'll just I'm probably going to roll my 23s to 24s to October and bring in more premium. So like I'm daring the market at this point to assign me. Hector in the house saying good morning. It's me. Closed my Neo calls. Bought at 150 days ago. Sold at 38. Good job. Good job. 150 calls or more than 13 like days ago. 150. Sold at 38 now. I mean, that's a kill. That's a kill. You triple your money. That's great. Zach G saying my spy calls went safe in the money about 5 seconds. That's how I got screwed. I don't do spreads. That's what happens when you do spreads. I like the what I call poor man cash secure puts. Example, bullish 65.45, bought in 950 instead of 11, but reduced margin. If it works for you, Win Commander, you've been doing this long enough to where, like, I don't worry about you. You know what I mean? But it's like, the people that are still like, newish and they're kind of unsure how to do the cover calls, cash secure puts, and they still have a lot of questions, and they really don't know how to read charts and all that stuff. I don't worry about you. I know you're making money, and I go out on margin myself only to like get out of trouble whenever like the stocks run and my cover calls. I buy them back, or cash secure puts, I buy them back, and then I just automatically. I rotate right then and there. I bring all this cash and I get out of margin on the same day, so I don't have to pay anything. So it's basically like a loan for the day that I pay back on the same day. Ricardo Canales in the house saying Savage. SJ Tavers is saying yes, but I'm saying is it better to do monthly instead of doing it for 2 or 3 months? That's up to you, man. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to trade. I'm not your financial advisor. But what I'm going to say is that I personally like bringing in bigger chunks because of days like today, right? So if you would have done a cash secure put yesterday for October, and you brought in $3, right, on premium, that right now is $2, right? That's a whole dollar. As opposed to if you would have written a cash secure put, on the same stock, and you brought in $1 because you're going to like next month, it's just like down. It's up like what? You're 40%. You bring in 40%, but it's 40 cents. As opposed to 30%, but it's out of $3, it's $1. So that's exactly why I like bigger chunks, because it's more money, big gyrations. That's why I like volatile stock. Savage, have you heard of Sweet Green SG ticker symbol? They missed earnings, but I think it's still solid. I have not. Dave Penny's in the house saying after selling cash secure puts, I'll buy SGov or Bill for interest. Should I hold that in my cash account, or is it fine to hold it in my margin account? I don't know what that means. I do cash only, and that's how I trade. I don't do margin accounts. And the only reason I go on margin is, like I said, is just to get out of trouble. But on the same day, I go back. So I don't recommend going on margin at all. I recommend cash only accounts. That's what I do. I don't even talk about margin because I don't want you guys getting in trouble. I want to be so conservative with you guys, man. Anyways, I've been up for 45 minutes. I'm just coming in for a quick in and out. I have to go to the doctor, guys, and I got to go to my physical therapist. So, I'm going to be back Monday morning, I believe. So at 8:30 a.m., maybe Sunday, Sunday at 5 p.m. California time. I think we're going to see what happened during the weekend, how we digest these news. And I'll be back Sunday at 5 p.m. California time. All right. Premium of the options is the house says he might be talking about getting interest on cash secure put collateral. Okay. So if you're talking about cash secure put collateral, Charles Schwab has a SWEXX. Mr. Premium of the option knows. I forget the name of the ETF, but yeah. So that's kind of I do cash secure puts out and on my and I bring interest that way. But I do those usually on the leaps that I sell. I do sell, like I sold a ridiculous amount of $7 BBAI, cash secure puts expiring in 2027, and I got like I think 360 and 365 for them, which is more than 50%. Those are there. So at this point, I'm bringing in 55%, and I'm getting 4 or 5% every year from Charles Schwab, right? So like that's like compounding. So I get to make money on money. You know, that's how I do it. Anyways, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys watching. I gotta get out of here. I have 5 minutes to get ready. But I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for watching, guys. If you didn't catch me early on, watch the replay. And Sunday, 5 p.m. California time. Be here or be squared. All right, guys. You guys take it easy. I'm the Savage Wall Street baby, making money. We make money on red days. We make money on green days. We just add to our portfolios, and we're trying to make $100 million. I mean, we're trying to make 100 millionaires on this here channel. That is my goal for the next 5 years. You guys, come on, man. Come on. I know you guys can make $1 million. If I did it, you guys can do it. I'm a dumbass. I know you guys are smarter than me. Anyways, later on, peace. I'm out. Outro, one love from Cali. Bye.